Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about my life living with anxiety. And I know for a lot of people, especially for Latinos, it's like, oh, if you have anxiety or if you say that something, is going on with you emotionally or mentally, like everybody's like, ay, estás bien loca, like, ¿qué te crees? Like, all this stuff. And, it's hard for us especially to go and get help for it because in our head we've been told, just like vete a tu cuarto, go take a nap or whatever, and then you'll be fine. But it doesn't always work that way, and sometimes you do need to go get help. And especially when you're in college and you're going through a lot of stress, the anxiety can build up and can affect you in a lot of different ways. So it's important to go and get help, which is why it's easier to have conversations about this when you know what's going on. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, please hit the subscribe button or hit the like button and leave any comment of what kind of videos you want to see, because I want to make sure I'm making videos that you guys want to see. So without further ado, my experience having anxiety. Alright, so personally, I have dealt with this for years, even before I knew what anxiety was. Ever since I was a little kid who would go to school and just freaking cry over nothing. And I say like nothing. Like if it was cloudy outside, I would start crying in school because I was so anxious and so scared that something was going to happen. And it got to the point where, I had to be sent to go get checked to make sure that I'm okay and everything's okay at home and stuff. And it was like, dang, like, what's going on with me that I can't even go to school without freaking out about the weather? And this is like when I was like 3rd grade, 4th grade, like completely crazy. I thought I was crazy, and especially being Latina and having your parents or just family members or friends tell you like, ay, ya estás loca, like no tienes nada, like tú estás bien, tú like just go to school, you're fine, nothing's wrong. It's like, no, I know there's something wrong. Like I'm freaking out over nothing and I want to know why. And it took a long time for me to finally get the help that I needed and that I wanted to figure out what was wrong. Once I got to college, that was when I finally was able to put a name to what was happening to me. I had a friend who knew she had anxiety and knew the signs of anxiety, and one day we were hanging out.
There may or may not have been some kind of substance. Maybe.
And I had a complete panic attack. And the only reason I knew that I had a panic attack was because my friend told me, you're having a panic attack. This is what it is. And I was like, no, this happens to me all the time. Like, I'll just calm down in a second. Like, I'll be okay. Just don't touch me. Like, let me be, by myself. And my friend's like, no, like, you're having a panic attack. Like, that's what you're explaining, what you're feeling. That's what it is. That's what I get too. And I'm just sitting there and like freaking out and just thinking like, no, like it's fine, like I'm fine, like it'll go away. After, I was freaking out and panicking and like having, all this stuff going through my head and not knowing why I was having to go through that. And I ended up going and seeing a therapist here. I'm at school, which if you guys don't know, and if you're in college or a freshman or sophomore or whatever, looking about college and thinking like, oh, is this a good idea? I mean, if anything, you get free counseling, so that's a reason to go to college. I was talking to the counselor and she would tell me things and make me answer questions and stuff like that. And by like the 3rd meeting, and I was seeing her every week, at least once a week, and by the 3rd meeting she was like, you're having panic attacks and you have high anxiety. And I just remember thinking,
like, what does that mean? How do you know that? Like, is there Is there like a checklist of things?
And, you know, I made her explain to me what anxiety was, and, you know, how that felt like, and how panic attacks felt like, because I was prepared. I was really, really sure that that's not what I had at all. And I started learning more skills on how to control and how to better help my anxiety. I started realizing how bad my anxiety was. And I would always put excuses to why I had this anxiety. Instead of calling it anxiety, I would call it awkwardness. Or instead of calling it anxiety, I would just say like, oh, I just don't want to do it. Like, I have a bad feeling. But it was anxiety. And, you know, I didn't drive on a highway for about a year. Even though I had my license, even though I had a car, I would avoid highways for a year because of how anxious I would get to even think of going on a highway. That's insane. That's how bad my anxiety is. And then on the other scale of just me calling it awkwardness, which sometimes anxiety can be pretty funny, and can be extremely awkward. And I like to, you know, I still say that I'm just really awkward because I know how I am, but anxiety can sometimes make you, you know, just. So this past week, this guy who I thought was really cute and I've never talked to, and he's never talked to me. I've just like seen him on campus. I'm like, ooh, you know, you cute, you attractive. Finally talks to me, and he comes up to me. I had my headphones on, I had my head down because I don't like making eye contact with anybody, because also I can't see from far away. So if someone waves hi to me, I can't see them anyway. So he taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, Naomi. Now, you know, in my head thinking like, oh, this.
What are you gonna do? What's gonna happen? Is he gonna say hi? What is he gonna ask you something? Are the words that are in your head, you know, coming out of your mouth right now? Because I think they are. He's done. You're crazy. Like nope.
And, you know, it wasn't like that at all. You know, outside, I was completely like, yeah, hey, yeah. I just got out from the library, the books in there, But inside, I was freaking out. And it's funny, and now I can laugh about it, and especially in those circumstances, because, you know, they're funny. But it's a real issue, and it's hard. Anxiety is not an easy thing to live with, and not a lot of people understand it. But, you know, it's better, at least for me, especially, you know, going through college and thinking about stress levels and, you know, just everything that's going on. Being pre-med is highly stressful. It's so much stuff. But on top of this, I have this thing. I have this whole, you know, thing going on with me that makes taking tests, that makes taking, you know, doing presentations that much harder. But now that I know that I have this, and now that I know that this is something that's, you know, gonna be with me for the rest of my life, and I just have to be able to deal with it, I have gotten stronger. If you have anxiety, and I'm not gonna say suffering with anxiety, because, you know, you can have anxiety and be happy. You can have anxiety and be okay. You don't have to be suffering with it. It's a part of you. It's a part of your life. But you just have to, like, be able to say, like, nope, you're not gonna stop me from doing the things I want to do. You're not gonna control my life anymore. I'm not any less of a person. I'm not crazy. I'm not, you know, any less Latina to admit that I have this issue. Like, I wouldn't want to change it. It's made me strong, and it's made me understand myself a lot more, and made me understand why people do what they do. So